Hi guys, and today we're going to be doing a ground pounder series. I've had so many requests from you because now it's got to be summer, it's getting hot, it's over 100 degrees now, and the bugs are everywhere. So I've had so many people ask about how do I deal with the bugs. Okay, this is one of those peace of mind in the ground pounder series that you can have the greatest gear in the world, but you can come out here and they can just make your life miserable, where there's just no enjoyment to coming out here. Not just from the heat, but from all them bugs. And there's very little you can do about the heat, but there is something you can do about the bugs. So let's start with the most basic fact. Why the bugs are after you, okay? Mosquitoes are attracted to our breath. They smell a waste gas that's part of our breath when we exhale, and they follow that to us. That's how they find us. They're not a sight predator, they smell. And so as you walk through breathing, you're like going poof, 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 like a old steam train leading a trail, and they hook it and they follow it to you. So that's how they find you. Once they get there, the mosquitoes are going to swarm around places that are heavily engorged with blood. This part of the neck is a favorite of theirs. Sometimes this part of the forearm. They don't like the tougher skin. They like the thinner skin, the weaker skin, and not as abused skin. Lighter color as well is what they're attracted to. And so they're going to come up to that, and they're going to get down there close, and they're going to smell. Okay, what are they smelling? The pH of your blood. A lot of people don't get that. So the number one thing you can do to make your life better is be bitter. Be something they don't like. Now, after a lot of real world experience and trial and error, I don't get bit that much. I mean, I can be sitting there, they still come to me, but I don't get many bites. And that's because due to medical issues, the pH of my blood is just all over the place. And so most times they'll come up and they'll just do that, get up close to me. They may even light on me, but they rarely bite me because I'm bitter. I don't taste good. My wife, on the other hand, she can draw them from Texas. I mean, I'm sitting, across the table from her, and I'm wearing a pair of shorts and no shirt, and I may get 3 bites in 2 hours. She could get 20 bites in 5 minutes or a minute. They're just clouds because she's got a good pH and she's sweet, and therefore they think she is just awesome, and they just got to come to her. So something that we found out to do to help her from the base up is, how do I make me kind of toxic to them so they don't like me to begin with? That is, we use vitamins. Okay, we go to the vitamin aisle down at our local grocery store or whatever, and you're looking for B12. Now, what I'm about to say, I do not know your allergic reactions. I do not know your medical conditions. Okay, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Okay? Let's say me and my wife are going to go out this weekend. On Monday, she starts taking B12 2 a day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We go out on Saturday. And usually it's much less because adding B12 changed the pH of her blood. I don't know up or down, but it changed it. And suddenly mosquitoes are not biting her nearly as much. Now, it doesn't mean she's immune, but the attractiveness seems to tone down. Now when you add regular mosquito repellent on top of that, you got a better chance. Before, she could just take a bath in mosquito repellent and they didn't care. They were still coming. But she could start taking vitamin 12 and change the pH of her blood, and she wasn't as attractive. Now, does this work just on mosquitoes? It works for any of the things like chiggers or ticks, anything that's looking for blood, because now you're sour milk. And I have watched a tick bite, hook up to me, stay hooked up for about 20 seconds, and it detach and then crawl off. because I was bitter. So I don't get that many ticks and things like that. Now that we mentioned ticks, let's jump on and stay with ticks for a second. Ticks like to get onto the very tips of bushes and stuff and drop down on animals that come by, like deer and etc. They will crawl up as well, and we're going to deal with that in a minute, but they prefer to drop down. So I wear a big old hat, okay? I will spray bug spray sometime onto my hat up here as a deterrent to help keep things away from me, like mosquitoes and things. I'll simply take my hat, hold it out there, and give her a little spurts around the top and put her back on. This is going to get soaking wet with sweat and my heat, but it will permeate it that way. It'll give off that smell better. I make sure to get myself with bug spray really good around my neck, put it on my hand, and get it on my face. Okay? Now, right through here on the top of the shoulders, I put it there. There's a lot of blood there, there's a lot of heat there, and that permeates it, gives off the odor more. Do not spray it directly on your armpit. You've already figured that out if you've ever done it. Not a good idea, but I will on my shirt spray up under here to help as I'm moving and my arms are moving. I'm fanning that smell to help avoid it. Now, some people enjoy wearing a t-shirt like this in the summer. I do not, because the t-shirt, once it gets wet, is just a second skin. It's stuck to you, and there is no air going to get underneath this. I prefer, as you see in a lot of my videos, to wear a jungle fatigue shirt. These jungle shirts are loose button-up shirts. This allows me, as I'm walking, I fan and get a little bit of air moving around me, and that makes a big difference in my walking. But it also means it's open, because I'm going to roll the sleeves up and it's open around my waist. So it would be a pretty good idea to wear like a wife beater t-shirt, they used to call them, and tuck them in at the bottom. We'll get to why I tuck it in, and then this on the top of it. I prefer just to go without it. I will usually feel something crawling on me like a tick or something like that. And so if it's anywhere on my upper chest, anywhere along my belt area, because I'm going to secure my pants, and we'll get to that in a minute, so that they can't get in down there. They got to climb all the way up. When they get into my belt and waist area all the way around, I can feel them better. So I feel something. Plus, in the heat, I got sweat just rolling. That's a wet area, and I'll feel them crawling. So I can reach under there and get them, throw them out of the way. Reduce ticks and things like that on me. But ticks are not my only danger. Down here in my south, we got fire ants. We got ants that will light you up like a bee sting. Them things hurt so bad when they sting you. And they don't just bite one. They came from a part of the world where they work together. So you come to a stop, you walk up and you stop, and you don't realize you're standing on one of their beds or one of their runs. And they start coming up your pants. Not one of them, hundreds of them. And you'll be standing there, you know, looking at, man, I want a fish down there. That looks pretty good. And suddenly they light you up, because they swarm up on you, and then one of them gives the command, a pheromone, and they all bite at one time. And so suddenly it ain't I got an ant bite, I got 40 or 50 ant bites, because you're standing in it. So I don't wear bare legs, bare feet, nothing like that, just for that. If I don't feel them crawling on me before that, they will bite you. Once, if you look and you go, stomp. Go to stomping your feet and wipe them off with your hand at high speed and get them off of you. Because once they start biting, they all gonna bite. So I secure the pants to be a barrier from the waist down to keep insects and things from biting me. Next, that other little creature that drives you nuts, gnats. Now they make a no gnats and gnat away and something else, but poor old redneck me, I use Vicks Vapor Rub. Just take a little bit of Vicks Vapor Rub right here between your top of your nose, on the outer edge away from your eye, but over here on your temples, and a little bit down here. The camphor in it will keep the gnats away. Why do the gnats keep getting in my eyes, Blackie? gnats are unable to drink water from surface water because of the tension of the water. They're so small they can't break that tension. Okay, to you and me it's water. To them it's something more akin like thick concrete. So the only way they can get water is to lick your eyeballs. Yeah, ooh factor. But that's why they start swarming you, and they just, why are they doing that? They're trying to lick your eyeballs because there's a moisture there that's small enough they can actually get it. So that's why they're doing that. They're thirsty. So that's why they get in your eyes. By putting this around the bridge of the nose, out here on the temples, and up under the eye a little bit, that will kind of sour the milk and that'll bother somebody else. Works really good. Now, as to bug spray, what do you use, Blackie? I can use Deep Woods Off or several other types. It works for me. Remember I said I'm not that big of a attractant to them. My wife, we find the strongest thing we can because she's just one of them that's going to pull them from everywhere. But we do the B12 ahead of time. If we know we're going out Saturday, she'll start the week before, and then we'll get good bug spray and she'll get good and soused in it. Reapply it every couple hours. Now remember I said that mosquitoes are attracted to your breath. If possible, and we've already got we're going to have a fire anyway, okay? If possible, when it gets to be about, an hour before sundown, and you'll know what I'm talking about, it's like you just turn the volume wide open on mosquitoes and it seems like they're everywhere. That's when I want a real smoky fire. And I want to be sitting where the smoke is going dead away from me. I want to build up a smoky fire, and I want to stand in that fire and turn around in that smoke and get really well smoked to help camouflage me a little bit. And I want to be dead opposite of that smoke because I want my breath that they're attracted to, remember, camouflaged inside of that smoke. So it reduces the skeeters coming to me to begin with. Just little tips or tricks. Now, let's talk about how we seal up the pants. Okay, first off, I'm going to start with my boot. Now, this is an Air Force issue, but it's basically just a jungle boot. I've got air vents right there that help pump air in and out. Now, when I pick my socks, I want long socks for this. And as you can see, what I've done right there is I folded it over. I want to pull my socks up, and I'm going to fold the top over like that. This is going to act as a sweat wicker. So as the sweat is running down the leg, it's going to hit this. It's also going to act as a couple other things, but it keeps the top of the boot from rubbing the leg right there and rubbing a blister. It acts as a sweat band to catch sweat coming down the leg, and it also acts as a deterrent. Now that I've rolled it down, I'm going to spray bug spray all the way around here. Then I'm going to take my pants. That's one of the reasons I like these old military pants. I'm going to cinch them up, just lightly hook them. Put all the tabs down in there. And I'm going to pull up over. Then I'm going to seal that up. Excuse aircraft, guys. I am near a military base and they must be launching their morning classes, so to speak. I'm going to take my laces and toward my inside, I'm going to push them down like that. Now by blasting them like this, any bug, whatever coming up, there is no way in to me. These insteps are sewed in, that tongue, so to speak, so they can't go around this way and get to me. They come up here and they have to get on the pants leg and come up the pants. There's no way into me from here. By doing that, now that insect, that ant, that tick, that whatever, has got to crawl up. And I'm walking, remember. I'm probably at a walking or clip or whatever. So that tick falls on me. He climbs up. I stop a second, he climbs up. Well, he's got to go all the way up to my hips. There's nothing from there down he can get in and get to me. Okay. Up here at my waistband, around where my belt and all and my waistband, I'm going to run a band of bug spray around right there. I'm going to put that loose fitting shirt on the outside, roll the sleeves up like I've said. I've added a little bug spray to this, and I probably misted down my shirt before I ever put it on. That keeps the bulk of the bugs off of me, so that as I walk, I'm a deterrent. If they drop down on me, they're not going to drop immediately in my hair because of my hat. My hat has bug spray on it. So if one lands on him and he starts coming around here, he's going into the bug spray, ain't he? That's one of the reasons you look at that thing, it's sun bleached, because that's the original color of it. It's sun bleached because I've spent so much time with this out here in the sun. But it keeps things off of me. Now, when you get a rest period, every couple hours if you're hiking, definitely at the end of the evening. A good way to do is after I'm done eating and I'm going to clean up, that's when I'm going to take out my wet ones or my water from my creek or whatever, and take my little bath to get rid of the sweat and the salt of the day. Wash off that old bug spray and get new bug spray on if I need it. That's when you do the tick check. Okay? From the waist down, where are they going to be? At my waist or very close to it, because he's got to climb all the way up and then double back down. So around my waistband, I do a thorough check. Okay? Up in here, I do a thorough check. Up under my arms, on the sides. Upper back, not so much. The skin's a little tough there and a little thick. And they like thin skin, better blood flow. I have had ticks in a couple of odd places one time. I woke up and I was in a hammock. And when I woke up, there was a tick right there that had attached. Now, one attached, Blackie, what do I do? One, if it's attached, but it's not engorged, that means it's still just a little bug with the legs. It hasn't puffed up and become round with blood. It hasn't been there very long. I can usually just grab a hold of it and give a little tug and he'll pop right off. Yes, you may leave the head in there. For some of you in different medical conditions, think that'd be a bad thing. Okay. I have a very aggressive immune system. I've done it my whole life. It doesn't bother me. I don't end up, oh my God, you got to, body just absorbs it. It's gone. But I grew up in the mud and the muck and the dirt and the filth and the cow poop, horse poop, chicken poop, etc. So I've got a very aggressive immune system. So I don't have to worry about that too much. But that, if it's engorged, don't grab it and squeeze it, because that just forces that back into you. Okay? The best thing I can tell you to do is remember that Vicks Vapor Rub. If you've got that, smear Vicks Vapor Rub on him. He has to breathe through his skin. Imagine that this is the head of the tick attached. The body of the tick, which starts out flat but engorges and becomes bigger, that's how he only feeds like once or twice in his life cycle. So he's going to puff up big time. You know, he's at the buffet, he's going to eat. But he's still got to breathe through here because he can't breathe through there. If you coat this in that Vicks Vapor Rub, he can't breathe. He backs out on his own to try to breathe. He'll come out. Well, Blackie, I don't have Vicks Vapor Rub. Pine. Go up to a pine tree, a young pine tree, skin it with your knife, give it a couple minutes. Wait for the sap to start running. Take the pine sap and coat him. You'll smother him with pine sap. He'll come out. Works really well. But that makes him back out. Now, in the past, we would take a hot needle and touch him. That can be good and bad because some people burn themselves. Plus the fact that if you burn him and he engorges and puts back in that processed blood that he's digested, you're going to get that back. So we don't want that. We want him to just come on out. So if I can't give him a little tug and him pop right off, I'm going to just coat him and let him back out. Then I'm going to smash him into oblivion. Now, educate yourself into tick-borne diseases like Lyme, the bullseye, and things like that that come later. Usually ticks have to be, ticks have to be attached for at least several hours, sometimes a day, before these diseases are fully transmitted to you and overwhelm your immune system where you're going to have that problem. So, that's the reason you do the tick checks every day. I check my waist, I check that, and then I run my fingertips through my hair. You want the tips of your fingers running through the hair to find it, you know, and look close and look for that. Wait a minute, what's that? Having a mirror. is great. If I can't see it, but it's back here and I think that's what it is, again, smear some stuff on it, see if it comes loose. If it don't, pop the thing off and just keep an eye on it. So it's better to get him off of you than don't take him back home and then say, get this off of me, and he's engorged. Would he eventually let go and fall off on his own? Yes. That's his life cycle. He hooks to you, he engorges, he stays on you a relatively short amount of time, and then he falls off of the prey animal. Then he goes off to reproduce and do his little thing. So, in conclusion, guys, 1, make yourself bitter if you can. 2, use whatever bug spray that you've got that works good for you. 3, understand how that predator is hunting you. That parasite is hunting you through my breath with mosquitoes, by dropping on me from ticks and things like that, by ants swarming and coming up your leg, and etc. So therefore you need to know how they function and then take action to avoid it and block them. Next, I seal up the pants from the legs down so that I don't have to worry about anything down there. I check the waistline at every opportunity. If I even think I feel like something's crawling on me, I just run a hand back there and catch it. 9 times out of 10 I'll catch them and get rid of them that way. I wear my broad brim hat, so if they drop down on me, they don't immediately drop into my hair. Those little things is how I deal with ticks, bugs, insects, and all of this stuff. Hope this gives you some ideas, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And until next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.